Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to knit a 2x2 lattice stitch. This stitch does require the use of a cable needle, so I would put the difficulty level at an advanced beginner. A couple points about this stitch. It provides a fabric that's very dense and very sort of tightly woven with these crisscross design or crisscross pattern that you see. This is the right side and then this is the wrong side. And so when you knit it up, the work does tend to shrink a little bit. So if you're normally used to casting on 20 stitches and expect you'll get a piece of 4 inches in width for that yarn and that size needle that you're using, with this stitch it'll be short, it'll be smaller than that. So definitely would suggest making a swatch with if you're using the stitch for a project. Definitely make a swatch first to verify how many inches you'll get with any number of stitches. Now the pattern itself is a multiple of 4 stitches, and you need regular knitting needles and the cable needle of matching size, close enough to the size of your knitting needles. I've cast on 16 stitches here for this demonstration, and I've already done the first 2 rows of the pattern, which are just knit all the way for the first row and purl all the way for the second row. Now the third row is where you're going to start using the cable needles, and for the first 2 stitches in row 3 you're just going to do a regular knit. Now these next 2 stitches is where you will need the cable needle, so it tells you to slip to CB, as in cable in the back. What that means is you're going to take your cable needle, slip these next 2 stitches onto the needle purl wise, just like that, and take this needle and hold it to the back of your work. So here's your working needles, the cable is on the back. Now you're just going to knit the next 2 stitches on the left needle. Those 2 stitches are still sitting in the back on the cable needle. You're going to knit these next 2 stitches, and then you're going to transfer the stitches from the cable needle back onto the left needle, just slipping them back on, and then you're going to knit those 2. Okay, and you'll start to see that little twist that's formed. And you're going to keep repeating this till the last 2 stitches. So you'll see this a couple more times. We're going to slip those on the cable needle, hold it to the back, knit the next 2 stitches, bring those stitches back on. You can slip them both at the same time or one at a time, and then knit. One more time. Now when you slip these stitches back on, just make sure that they're not twisted like that, that they're in the right orientation, because sometimes the cable needle likes to twist. Okay, and you keep doing that till you get to the last 2 stitches, which you're just going to knit. And then every even row, or the row on the wrong side, it's all purl all the way. So that's simple enough, just purl all the way through. And as you're purling, you may notice that those points where we did those cable stitches, you might start to see a big gap like that. Don't worry, that doesn't mean you've dropped a stitch. It's just the way the yarn plays out when you do that cable twist. But once the pattern is all done, those holes don't really stand out at all, and they'll be behind the crisscross. Okay, so we just completed row 4, and now row 5. So for row 5, the pattern will tell you to start with a slip to CF, and what that means is you're going to take the first 2 stitches and you're going to slip them onto the cable needle, and the F tells you that you're going to hold the cable needle to the front. Now because these are the first 2 stitches, they might be a little bit on the looser side, so it might help to give a tug to the yarn like that. And then you're going to knit the next 2 stitches on the left needle, just regular knit. Then you're going to transfer these 2 stitches from the cable needle back onto your left needle, and then you're going to knit them. And you'll keep doing this to the end of the row. So we'll see that a few more times. Knit the next 2 stitches, transfer cable stitches back on, and knit. And the last time. And that's the end of row 5. And now you start to see the crisscross pattern forming. Row 6 and all even rows would just be a purl, and then you'll come back and start up again row 3. So essentially rows 2 through 5 is what you're repeating for the pattern after you've done that first all knit row. And there you have it. That is the 2x2 lattice stitch. One other point I wanted to mention was that you could choose to put a border on either side of your project. If you decide to use this project to make, let's say, a cell phone case or an eyeglasses case, or even just a purse, you could choose to put a little garter stitch border on either side, maybe add 2 stitches to this side and 2 stitches to that side. And if you do, that's fine. Just make sure your middle part is a multiple of 4, and then just add on the number of stitches that you need when you're using this stitch for a project. I hope you give this one a try. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment. If you like the video, please click the like button, and if you want to stay tuned of all my upcoming videos, please subscribe to my channel, Knittycat's Knits. Thanks for watching, and happy knitting!